One of my go-to multiplayers for almost the past 2 years has been Halo Infinite. It's just, as a fan, a dream come true with so many things that have now been added to the game that wasn't there at launch. And with its new big season coming up, another thing I want as a fan is just a couple of those things to really actually make it that dream come true, and to maybe make it come back, if you will, and become what Halo once was in terms of the mainstream thing. But is that possible, and what are people saying about Season 5, which is coming up in like 2 or 3 weeks, that has me basically like...
Don't
what?
Don't give me hope.
I'm sorry I couldn't give it to you sooner.
Hello friends, hope you're having a geek proud awesome day. It's me, Kibiji. Like to speculate on games with you, and am a fellow big Halo fan. I just have these really big thoughts, hopes, and feelings that I feel need to come out before this big new update comes, which a lot of people are rumoring and leaking and so on, that I'm just like, I'm really scared. I'm really genuinely nervous. It's the community that has me kind of thinking about making this, being Halo Infinite has had so much positive momentum going forward. I did this video about how much content Infinite has now, and I got so many new subscribers from that video, and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, somebody actually talking positive about this game. And it's not just me. There's a lot of people that have hopped on Infinite in Season 4, thanks to maybe Infection or other things. I don't know. Maybe they just finally heard, hey, the game is in a much better place than it was at launch. Maybe you should check it out. And you see, like, a big streamer, Big M&K. I mean, I didn't know who this guy was until people pointed out, oh yeah, he's freaking huge. And you see him even admitting, like,
people give this game a lot of shit. This game's, it's buttery smooth, bro, which is saying a f***ing lot for past Halos on PC.
There's somebody like the Act Man, who is somebody I really looked up to as a content creator, that basically boycotted the game. He refuses to talk about Halo Infinite until they brought split screen and other promises back. But then you see him tweeting this thing that it's like, I have to admit, this is kind of fire. There's just so much positive word of mouth and stories being shared about Infinite. It's finally in that place I think so many people wanted at launch, that the people that aren't playing it just refuse to believe or say it's too late. You know, like, it doesn't matter. This is too late. Therefore, 3 for 3 is
the devil. Everything is the devil to you!
But this just makes me think of other games that have had comeback stories. You think of Cyberpunk 2077, had a terrible launch, had so much controversy surrounding it, but then I would say after the game was fixed up, there was the anime that came out that made it skyrocket on Steam player base. There was Among Us, a game that came out like 2 years before it just hit this random huge popularity that happened to it that made it like one of the most played games during COVID. Then there is even Xbox's very own Sea of Thieves, a game that launched that people were like, yeah, there's a lot of promise here, but there's just not enough to do. Very similar situation to Halo Infinite. And then it made a comeback and became like one of the most streamed games on Twitch. It's these comeback stories that just make me think, is Halo Infinite Season 5 that potential opportunity to do that? Because let's bring it up. Let's talk about Halo Infinite today versus launch. We have a game that, again, I touch upon a lot of this in that content video I did, but it's a game that has like more than triple the amount of maps that it had at start. And a lot of that, yes, is thanks to the community, but also there's a lot of new dev maps that came in. We have career progression, something that I desperately wanted as just something to do, like something to do outside of just a battle pass that I unlock cosmetics. I want something that I'm being rewarded every time I play and is going to take me like thousands of hours to get done. So the career progression, it's a great thing to just constantly have something to fuel that dopamine effect. Events are so much better than they used to be in the past, where it's just like, yeah, play Fiesta to unlock this samurai outfit. Whereas now it's like, no, play this Ninja Slayer or whatever game type where you're going around with grapple shots and swords and you're in these like samurai-like environments that the community made. Husky Raid, which is a dope game mode of just colliding in a straight line with each other, trying to get to the other side. There's so many cool things that they're doing even with the events. And custom game browser is there too, as just if you want to have shits and giggles funs with your friends, then that's what the Forge community is there. Forge has taken this game to a whole other stratosphere, and custom game browser is where you could just explore and see all those game types. I do wish that the career progression stuff, they found a way to reward players for playing in the custom browser, because right now you just play in there for fun, which is fine and makes sense, but maybe just, I don't know, you earn like a fourth the amount that you would in PvP matchmaking. They fixed a lot of the store stuff. There's very little FOMO now. If you have the cash to purchase these microtransactions, if you missed a store bundle, that's fine. You can just go into the armor menu and pick an item that you want and then just be like, okay, there's the bundle if you want to buy it. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying it's an option for people now. I can't speak to the desync or server issues because I live in America and I don't deal with those server issues. However, I have heard that it's still a struggle for people outside of America. I don't know about the desync thing because I've just never experienced that myself, so I can't speak to that. And I bet you there's somebody typing in the comments, he's a freaking liar, he deals with it all the time. Believe what you want to, friend. And ever since launch, I personally have felt the gameplay in Infinite is absolutely just smooth, punchy. It might be from the audio design, it could be from the sandbox and just fighting over power weapons and equipment and the graphics, and I just always feel absolutely immersed whenever I play Infinite because of the smooth gameplay and great art direction that 343 finally got after all these years. This as a Halo multiplayer is becoming what I hoped Infinite to be, a game that the community can literally have their maps added to the matchmaking that just kind of endlessly makes so many new scenarios, modes, and situations happen. That's what Infinite is becoming. And so now with Season 5, what the leaks and rumors are, let's talk about it. Can it do that comeback that I was saying? Because the rumors and leaks for Halo Infinite Season 5, which is going to be either October 17th or 18th, is that there's going to be the PvE elements added to it, the PvE stuff. That is what I want to be added to this game. There's going to be 2 new maps. Obviously, that's what they do every season, at least 2 new maps. Maybe there's a couple new modes and so on. There's this talk about like extraction, which if you pay attention to rumors and leaks, has been around for years. If you haven't, then just wait and see. I've said before, I don't like leaks. I like to see a trailer and then just find out in that trailer, which is why I am not expecting what I am talking about here. I am just hearing things and I am not expecting it whatsoever, but damn right I can hope. Because when I hear PvE stuff is going to be coming to the game, that's all this game is missing. That's all it's missing. There is no firefight. And there was the talks from the Forge Lord person that's in charge of Forge. We're working on adding campaign AIs to Forge mode. Whenever that comes, Infinite will truly be the dream come true game that I hoped. You know, maybe not quite on the campaign front. I still love the campaign, but it's like, great, just make your own campaign. Like, that's basically what these PvE things can potentially be, just without the cutscenes. And when they add that, I am genuinely going to flip out and be like, Infinite is a game as a Halo fan I don't think I can drop. If I can actually get progression and rewards for doing community-made firefight or campaign-like levels, which is what Master Chief Collection does. That's why Master Chief Collection is technically the actual dream come true Halo game. But I'm talking about like a single entry that you aren't mixing and matching everything previous to. This single title is the game that is Infinite because the community gets to add to it. And that's what Season 5 might have if it adds the PvE thing. If it doesn't, I think I have an idea as to why. Before I say that though, what is the key thing that you feel is missing from Halo Infinite for you? For it to be something that really hooks you in, what is the key thing that's missing for you? Because like I said, for me, it's the PvE thing. And if they aren't adding it this season, I have an idea as to why. And that is that comeback story I was talking about. In order to do that, you can't just make a good game, unfortunately. You can't just make things great. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. We are in such a saturated freaking game industry now. 2023 is absolutely insane about just you couldn't play everything. And that's unfortunately what Halo is in today. It's in this landscape that it just isn't the shooter it once was because of how many other shooters there are to play that it has to compete with. Even if it just became a masterpiece out of nowhere, there has to be something that brings people in to find that out. And unfortunately, PvE alone isn't enough to do that. It is for me, but it's not going to do that for the general masses. It's going to generate good word of mouth, but they might hold onto it. They might hold onto it to put in, say, the Xbox Direct next year or the Developer Direct. If they do that same thing again that they did this year, where they had multiple first-party developers talking about an upcoming patch or an upcoming game releasing, that is something that could be a thing. But Xbox isn't going to properly market Halo Infinite until something really big comes to the game, and only that will be the thing that makes Infinite come back. But if Season 5 launches with PvE, it might be a slight push, because we already have seen things like Rainbow Six Siege. They just had a crossover with Master Chief in the game. It's moves like that that is going to bring people into Infinite. And I do think that this timed crossover, you know, they have Master Chief in Rainbow Six Siege, a very well acclaimed game. I do think they did that to build up to this new season of Infinite, which will hopefully have PvE. And that might make the player count rise to a new level, as it does every season, and maybe this time it'll be a decently higher peak. We will see. I guess what I'm trying to say in this video is, as a fan, I am loving Infinite right now. I am personally loving it. I know there's a lot of people that want to say you are way too forgiving or whatever, but guess what? I am just enjoying life. I am just enjoying the fact that there is a Halo game out there that looks this good, that feels this good, that has so many features in it, that has the community collaboration feel that it has. Yes, it's missing some things that keep it from being the absolute masterpiece dream come true, but if PvE comes to the game, there's legit going to be too much to do in this game. And that will put it to the point that Xbox might feel ready to finally start marketing the game. When they market the game, that means they feel they are ready to reintroduce the audience to it, because there's no more sourness to it. Not as much sourness, at least, which is what I go over in the video here. That totally check that out, because that's the actual plan that Xbox has for Halo Infinite. And if you want to support the content more, consider going to Patreon, where we hang out and talk about Halo. We have a Halo channel there. But otherwise, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What could bring Infinite to that spot that fans really hope that it'll get to?